What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in and checking out this video. In today's episode of Awesomeness, in the Garage of Awesomeness, I'm going to be working on the back half of the F-150, and by that I mean basically just kind of replacing a lot of the factory plastics on the bed, installing some new rear wheel liners, factory ones, so fit and finish should look on par with what I'm thinking, and installing a Gator roll-up bed cover. Now, the truck was a work truck, right? It'd been used as a work truck, it'd been driven like a work truck, and when I saw the truck originally, I saw something that, you know what, I can have some fun with this and clean it up and kind of venture out of my comfort zone. What I mean by that is obviously it's not a Dodge, it's not a Ram, it's not a Jeep, right? It's a Ford. And I'll be honest with you, I really do like this little truck. I mean, it is fun to drive as it sits, and it's only getting better. So to help with the aesthetics and with the goal that I have in mind for this thing, I decided to swap out all the plastics on the bed, mostly because they've seen better days. And as you can tell, there's a few clips broken on the bed rail caps, the tailgate cap, as well as the wheel spats that sit down on the bottom of the bed behind the rear tires. And with the rear inner liners, I just wanted to clean up the wheel liners a bit. So I think throwing those in there will literally kind of hit the mark and clean it up and just make it look that much nicer. And then once I get the rear bumper back from paint, I'll be throwing that back on with a couple new pieces that I had to replace because I kind of broke the other ones off the factory bumper. It is what it is. It's a learning process. You know what? And I love the heck out of it. So let me show you guys what I'll be doing. Let me show you the parts I'll be using, right? So first things first, the little rear wheel spats. Now this is what I'm talking about, right? Now I already kind of took out a few of the tabs that help secure this in place. And the clips on these, well, I broke them because I took off both of them, driver and passenger, to clean underneath here. My fault. Didn't realize how kind of fragile they were, but irregardless, I got some new factory ones. These are right from the Ford store. They've got the little adhesive on the bottom corner to help secure it back on the bottom side of the bed. The tailgate cap, ready to rock and roll, brand new. I'll be throwing that on, obviously, like I said, and then obviously your passenger and driver side bed rail caps, which are Ford OE parts. So fit and finish should look perfect, on par with what I'm thinking and what I've got kind of planned out in my head. And then last but certainly not least, as far as up top goes, I'll be throwing on this Gator bed roll-up bed cover for an F-150 6.5 foot bed, which this one has. I really do like these covers. I think the fit and finish of them is really nice. I think the profile of them is really clean as far as not really kind of protruding too far above the bed. And obviously ease of use, it really doesn't get much easier. I mean, they roll up to the front, they snap down, you get full access to the bed, and at the end of the day, if I've got this thing rolled up, it kind of takes up this much in the front. So I'm good with it. So I'm gonna get started on this thing. I've got this box right here is the factory rear wheel liners. So I'll show you guys and gals those here in a second. But I want to get started on the top of the bed because at the end of the day, I want to get all this stuff knocked out. If the rear wheel liner is done, I still have to take off the front bumper because it's all going to paint tomorrow. Rear bumper, front bumper, the trim piece above the bumper. And let me show you guys this. I'm pretty excited about this, okay? I got the new STX grill, and this is actually kind of the front piece that unsnaps off the grill. So I can get this painted to match. So the truck will just look the way that I want it to. White and black and clean and easy to take care of, right? So I could drive this thing dang near anywhere when I'm done with it, not have to worry about, you know, if I got to clean it up, it should clean up really nice because it's going to start off with a really nice clean surface. So I'm going to get started. Bed rail caps, tailgate cap, replace all that. Lower wheel spats and rear liners after the bed cover goes on. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you. This is super easy to do. And you could use some finesse if you want, but at the end of the day, these got to come off. And most of the clips on them, a lot of them are already broken. So there you go. There's the factory passenger side bed rail cap. That'll be going right to the trash. As you can tell, it's a bit dirty under here, so I'll get this all cleaned up. I'm not gonna buff it or wax it or any of that kind of stuff, right? It's gonna be underneath the bed rail cap. I just want the surface to be clean, so I'll be using a Meguiar Surface Prep as well as a Meguiar's quick detailer on it. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the tailgate. So let me throw this little piece away, it's driving me nuts. And I'm gonna do the driver's side, get onto the tailgate. Ready, go. And this side is done. These off. Remember how I said there were some broken clips on them? Well, I just broke the rest of them off, it seems. So for the new ones, stay on a bit better than the old ones. Now for the tailgate, you got to remove the access panel, which isn't hard. I believe it's a T20 if my memory serves me correctly. So I'm going to clean up the bed caps first, get them looking good. Then I'm going to get to work on the tailgate, take the access panel off, take off the old cap, get it cleaned up, throw the new one on, get the bed cover set, hammer it down, make sure that as far as the tightness of the bed cover itself between the front of the bed and the clamp, so that way it keeps tension on it and actually helps kind of smoothen it out once it's closed and secured is all there. Then I get to work on the little wheel spats down here. And last and certainly not least, which I'm actually, this is gonna sound kind of silly, but I am pretty excited to throw these on, are these rear wheel well covers. Now let me show you exactly what they look like. Of course, it's the only box I didn't actually open prior to making this, so my apologies on the weight. But I got these from some kind of Pony Express website on the interwebs. They had quick shipping, they had them in stock, and honestly, it was pretty easy, right? But here are rear wheel liners. Now, obviously, I'm gonna let these bad boys sit out in the sun because today's the perfect day to do that before I throw these in. So they literally conform to the wheel well as best as they can. Obviously, they do have some hardware that come with them, so I'm gonna get these zip ties off and get these laid out in the front, and I'll show you as far as the hardware goes for these, what it is that you'll be installing, because I'll be honest, for how inexpensive they are, if you have yourself an XL or an XLT or any kind of F-150 that doesn't have these on there, these things just make such a nice difference in the back of the truck. So I'm gonna go set these bad boys out in my driveway. And then this is all the hardware, and I'm sure this comes with some pretty nice instructions, but I know there's a few of these little metal clips. You know what, let's just open the bag. I'm trying to show you guys through the bag. It just seems kind of silly. So you got a couple of these bad boys that, if my memory serves me correctly, snap in. I want to say on the back side of the wheel well, and then obviously they have screws that go in there to help secure the wheel well liner to the actual wheel well itself. And then you've got a couple of these bad boys, these big plastic kind of Christmas tree tabs. I don't know if you guys can see that. Got a couple of those, and I think there's like 2 per side or 3 per side. And I think that's it. So this is pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna go set these out in the sun. I'll probably, actually, I'll be honest with you, what I'm probably gonna end up doing first is I'll probably ceramic coat them, and then I'm gonna go set them outside and then let those bad boys cure and become a little bit more flexible so they're easier to put in. But these are pretty straightforward, guys and gals. Here's the instructions. Looks like you need a 7 mil. It's pretty easy. Yeah, torque wrench, ratchet, a couple sockets. Actually pretty easy. And the instructions are in a couple different languages. Well, obviously Ford's not just in America, so that's cool. So yeah. So I'm gonna get to work on these. As soon as I get this stuff knocked out, And it's gonna be a dang good time, and I'm really excited. So let's continue on to the tailgate. All right, guys, so for the access panel back here, you're gonna need a T25 Torx bit. Looks like there's 8 that you've actually got to take off, and then I'll show you the clips that I was talking about that actually sit behind this panel that help hold the cap for the top of the tailgate on there. So let's get started. Almost lost one. All right, so you got 8 of them, right? T25s. Now, to get this out, access panel removed. Now you'll see, I don't know if you guys can see it from there, but let me show you. You've got these little clips, right, that help secure this onto the tailgate itself. So my goal, obviously it's always my goal, is to take those out in a fashion where I can reuse them. And at the end of the day, basically just put the new one on, put these clips in there, and be done. Now, I've never been the best at removing these clips, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Obviously I showed you that with the wheel spec. But I'm thinking that I can actually use my combination of flathead with a little curve on it and my trim prying tool, and I should be able to get this out fairly easily. So let me get that going right now. Okay, so that didn't work. And that thing is, I don't even know where. So I'm gonna just try to match up with what I've got, because I do have a couple extra of these little push pin things. And I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? Well, that kind of settles that, huh? Looks like the center of these have to come out before you can actually pull it out. Yeah, so it's got to actually pop up. I don't know if you guys see it. It's supposed to pop up and then they come out. But yeah, so let's see if I can figure out how to finesse this. Yeah, well, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was able to save one, but the actual piece itself, yeah, I broke that. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm gonna figure out what tabs I have that'll fit in there, because Bull in a China shop broke them. I might as well just break the 4th one anyway, but then this bad boy will actually pop off, because truth be told, these little tabs plus the access panel is what was really kind of securing this on there. The new one, it's ready to go, so hopefully those will snap in and stay right where it needs to. So let me get this last one off. Okay. Now that I've broken all 4 of those, let me get the tailgate folded up, and then I'm going to get to work on pulling the cap off. That's my camera shaking, so I'm probably going to actually move that so it doesn't fall over and break. So, all right, so much like the caps on the bed rail, the tailgate piece pretty easily came off, but the nice thing with it is I got the new one to go on. So I'm going to clean this off, I don't know if you guys can see, and then get the bed rails cleaned up, snap all the new ones in place, and then get the bed cover installed and let the new rear wheel liners cure and let them get heated up and throw those in last. So let's keep on going. All right, guys, so I got the obviously old bed rail caps off, tailgate cap off, got the surface nice and prepped and cleaned. Obviously everything wiped down to the best of my ability. I'd be lying if I said I didn't actually hit it with a clay bar just real quick, but either way, yeah, I know I have a problem, I get it. I said I wasn't going to, and I did, but there's a couple spots that were kind of driving me nuts. So anyway, so I got the old stuff off, got everything cleaned up. I'm going to install the new pieces on now. They are very straightforward, guys and gals. I mean, they literally snap on. I mean, obviously you want to line everything up. So first things first, I'm going to start with the passenger side. So here is the new passenger bed rail cap, right? Obviously it's a little dirty from sitting in here for a little bit, but I'll get it wiped down looking good. So I'm gonna start from the back and work my way forward. So all I'm gonna do here is there's a little tab back here. I'm gonna line that up first. Should probably be, all right. So first one down. And I'm basically just gonna go from back to front. And that's it. Doesn't move. It's in there. They look great. And that's that. They're super easy, right? And if you kind of have an eye and you're looking at your truck going, gosh, you know, I could probably actually replace those. You just want it to look a little bit better. In my opinion, that's something that's always going to be seen. You know, people walking around your truck or checking it out, we're always going to notice, obviously, your bed rail caps. So the nice thing with this Gator cover is it actually sits just inside the caps. So I won't be covering these up after I get the tonneau cover on this, so you'll still be able to see just how nice they are. So now, time to get the driver's side on. And then, I think I found a solution for my broken tabs for the tailgate cap, but we'll try it out. So let's get this one on first. And that's it. Now, driver's side looks obviously as good as passenger. It's on there, it's secure. I had to go through and kind of straighten a few little spots on the tops of the bed rails as well as the tailgate from you know, ripping out the old one, but it's okay because they sit flush, they look phenomenal, and I'm very pleased with the turnout. So now let's get to the tailgate. Tailgate, I found these little clips in my toolbox that are kind of similar to the ones that I pulled out of there. So I'm literally going to test fit them right now for the first time, but I want to get obviously all the clips and everything in the tailgate first. Make sure that these are all lined up, all these little openings in the cap itself. Get those lined up with the holes in the tailgate and then finish it off. So let us get this together. And ladies and gentlemen, I give you a bed that looks a bit better than it did when I first got it, and definitely a bit more prepared for whatever I throw at it down the road or whoever ends up getting it down the road. So yeah, so now to go to the inside of the bed. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of thinking, you know, I've got one of those easy down tailgate deals on my mega cab. I'll probably end up throwing one of those on here just because, well, I'm getting old. And actually it is kind of nice. My wife's truck has it from the factory where you just drop the tailgate, it lowers down super nice. And yeah, so I'm kind of jealous a little bit. So maybe I'll throw one of those on this thing here before too long. But let's see if these clips actually fit the bill. So if you remember earlier, yes, I broke them. And no, I don't think these are going to work. Well, it seems as these may be a bit bigger. I'll be honest with you. Maybe don't try this at home because yeah, I just don't think these are going to fit, guys and gals. They seem to be a bit too big. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, these aren't going to work. Although these pieces right here may actually end up working by themselves. Yeah, that's not going to hold. So back to the drawing board. I may I may have found a solution. I got an idea. Let's put these back. So for the wheel spats, you need 5 clips per side. Okay, now between this pack of 3 that I picked up just in case I broke any of them and these 2 packs, I've got 13. So maybe what I'll end up doing is I'll take 3 from these packs, right, and use these to help secure that in there, because I think these will actually work. These ones are kind of big. And maybe 3 of these little smaller ones. These may actually work. Let's give it a shot. You know, sometimes, I'll be honest with you, these gloves that I got, they kind of suck. But I got a whole box of them, so I might as well use them. That actually worked. So 3 of these smaller ones. So seem to be missing a few. Well, it worked. So now I'm going to put the access panel back on and then get the tonneau cover unboxed, get the frames put up for that, get the cover itself set on the front of the bed, get everything tightened down, test fit it, obviously, you know, make sure everything kind of lines up so I can close the tailgate, make sure that the cover's square on the bed. And then I'm gonna get to work on installing these, as well as the rear wheel liners, which I don't know if you guys can see, but right back over there, boom. I got them heating up so they're a little bit easier to form in the wheel wells once I get them in there. So these little bad boys are probably gonna end up getting ceramic coated. Those out there got a coat of ceramic coating on them, so I'll probably throw a coat on each one of these just to make sure that they look good, because obviously they're new and I want to keep them looking that way as long as I can, obviously. And then that will conclude today's festivities. So yeah, let me finish putting this back together. All right guys, I am done with the bed cover, done with the tailgate cap, and done with the bed rail caps as well. So all new caps installed, new tailgate cap, bed cover. Bed cover is super easy to do. One of the nice things I like about this cover is how well it seals to the top of the tailgate. And it is super easy to install too. So for example, I'll break it down. It's got 3 kind of main pieces to it. It's got these side rail pieces that mount up to the bed rails themselves. Then it's got a header piece that actually secures the cover to this kind of like metal portion. That front metal portion bolts into these side rail pieces once you get these lined up and set in there, and it uses 2 15mm bolts. You've also got a tension block on each side in the front of this rail, so if you wanted more tension, less tension on your cover, you can actually adjust that, which is nice, and it comes with a cotter pin to keep it in place so you don't have to worry about that popping out over time. On the side, you do have 3 brackets, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You've got these 3 little brackets that secure the rails to the top of the bed itself. These are actually a 13mm, and I found personally that when I kind of set the depth as far as how far back I wanted it to sit up against the tailgate, I just kind of set the bracket in there, hand tightened it, and kind of went back to front. Obviously making sure that the front piece still seals over the front of the bed, which it does, which is really nice because you've got a nice little rubber piece that kind of covers that whole front piece from, you know, kind of the front of the bed to the actual header board. So kind of nice, it helps seal it up. Once I got it all lined up, I closed the tailgate up, make sure that there's enough space for me to actually close the bed cover once the tailgate's closed, 1, and 2, They provide you with these cool little foam gaskets that go in between the rails and the tailgate to help secure it, so that way you don't have to worry about anything getting in there, you know, rain or precipitation or anything, which is kind of nice. So it helps keep things in the bed dry, keeps the elements out. One of the other things I like about this is not just how easy they are to install, but they seal very well, right? So when I pop this down on here, you've got 2 clips, one on each side. Get the little metal bracket lined up. And that's it. Make sure that this little rubber seal that comes with it doesn't get caught in between the tailgate. So that way you've got a nice clean seal all the way across the back. Again, keep the elements out, keep whatever you have in your bed nice and dry and high and tight. And that's it, right? The Velcro, you can go through, like, you know, if you wanted to pull some more tension into it to really secure it, you do have that option. But I worked most of the tension out of the cover itself without overdoing it, and made sure that each side is lined up. And not only that, but I was able to get the rails for the bed cover themselves flush with the top of the bed itself. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if you look, see if I can get it right here, I got the rail itself flush with here, so that way there's less area for wind or whatnot to get up underneath there. And in my opinion, just kind of give it a better seal all the way around. So a little recap: bed cover done. And guys, it's on Amazon. It's the Gator brand. It's a roll-up soft cover. It was under 300 bucks. I had it in less than a week, and I think the final result is worth every penny. My personal opinion. Tailgate cap, I believe this was like $80 or $90, brand new shipped. Obviously helps the back of the truck, in my opinion, look aesthetically better. It is new. I will go through and do a nice little coat of ceramic on it. The bed rail caps, I believe, were about 55 bucks a piece. Again, new, they don't slide, they're all locked in. None of the little plastic pins are broken, and everything underneath there is cleaned as well. And last and certainly not least, for right now, I put the new wheel spats on down below. If you remember when I was showing them to you earlier, they were kind of, well, broken, right? They were not sealing to the bed of the truck, and they just had seen better days. I mean, it's 100,000 miles, I get it. So new ones are on, super easy to do. Just had 6 of those little push pin deals. On the back side of these, there is some adhesive right here. So when you're putting it on, just make sure that the surface is clean. I pressed it and held it just like this for about 10-15 seconds, and then went through and popped all the clips in there and made sure they were all sealed up. But now it's up against the bed of the truck. I think it looks a lot better, and in my opinion, it's those little details that definitely kind of set, you know, some vehicles apart from others. So for now, that's pretty much it. I've got the wheel liners for the rear wheel wells still sitting outside. I've been kind of checking them as I've been, you know, throwing all this stuff on to make sure that they're not getting distorted or kind of, you know, not kind of maintaining their original shape. But I am going to get to work on those here momentarily. All right, guys and gals. So now it's time to do the rear inner fender liners. Now, let me give you the before, right? Because I don't think the lighting on the other side did it any justice, but I mean, it's not a horrible thing, right? I mean, it just, to me, looks unfinished, and with how easy it is to get these parts and how easy they are to install, why not, right? I mean, literally, I'm gonna show you the parts that you need to install this thing, and I'm gonna show you right now where it goes. So you've got these little clips that snap in back here in the wheel well, okay? So you've got one here, you've got one that's back in here. I don't know if you guys can see, let me swing the camera in there. Right there, behind my finger, right? And then you've got one more right down in here, okay? Now, these little metal clips that I'll show you here in a second snap in there because those are the 3 screws that you use, and I believe it's an 8mm head if I'm not mistaken. Now, there are 3 other openings that are more circular that actually just use those kind of push pins. You've got one that sits in the front of the wheel well right here, right? You've got another one that sits right back up in there. And then last and certainly not least, you've got one that sits right there. So literally, you just set the wheel liner in there. The nice thing about leaving them out in the sun is they're a little bit easier to kind of maneuver into the wheel well itself and kind of get it situated where it's more ideal. Obviously, having a little bit more play with it too allows you to make sure that everything lines up once it secures in up top, getting everything lined up with the screws and the plastic clips there. But I cheated. I already installed the passenger side, so I'm going to show you guys and gals what that looks like now, because it does make a huge difference, okay? And I'm not just saying that because I have a little slight case of OCD, but look at how much better that looks, right? I mean, yeah, the lighting's kind of poop, but I mean, look at that. I mean, it just looks so much cleaner and more finished, right? I mean, you can't really argue with it. Not too shabby. And it really is super easy. I mean, you've got one of the screws that goes in right here. You've got one of the little push pins, you know, that goes in back over in here. It's super easy to do. I know, I'm sorry the lighting sucks, but overall, for 5 minutes and a little bit of extra waiting on, you know, leaving the liners outside so they could be a little bit more pliable, letting them heat up, and just making sure, A, that I've got all the parts that I need to install them. It's a super, super easy install. And in my opinion, the end result is phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, it's all coming together. The entire truck is. I mean, I can officially say once I get that liner put in, and obviously I get the back bumper, you know, put back together and installed on there. So here's a bit better view, guys, in the sun. And as you can tell, the wheel liner really cleans them up inside the wheel wells pretty well. I'm definitely excited. So super easy install. Again, bed cover and everything on, out in the sun, everything looking good, everything's nice, high and tight. So I mean, just missing the rear bumper, put that back together and she's good to go. But I mean, the little wheel spats, even not having the little space in between here, having that on there all tight and ready to rock and roll, I think that turned out really nice. That's not a scratch, that's just dust. And then yeah, the bed cover, so I'll probably wait for it to heat up a little bit, make sure that I've got all the tension pulled out of it. But yeah, everything's all good to go, all cleaned up. She's coming together. So there she is, reverse leveled, waiting on a few more parts now.